If you don't do this process first, if you don't go through the key questions and key aspects first, you end up wasting a ton of time, a ton of energy, and a ton of everything on an idea, on a product that ends up going nowhere. So, if you want to save yourself some time, yesterday we gave a talk on product discovery and product validation, and I wanted to share 3 key points that I consider everyone should be doing if you are going to launch a business, if you're building brand, if you're creating some type of product, anything in between. Here are 3 takeaways that you should be bringing into every single thing that you do. One of these key takeaways, which is completely obvious to me, but it turns out is not that obvious to other people. One of those points is validate. When you don't validate, which means run some tests before you go full out on whatever it is that you're doing, you end up wasting valuable time and valuable resources on something that's going nowhere. If you have this idea in your head and you think, this is going to be my life's work, this is going to be the thing that brings me some professional success, this is going to be the thing that I want to build, and so on, before you keep convincing yourself of this, run some tests. I'll give you some examples. Why don't you create a wait list for your product? Run some ads, test messaging through a landing page, test positioning through your content on social media. Run some tests because you want to understand if, number 1, the problem actually exists. Number 2, this idea that you have actually solves said problem. And number 3, there is willingness to pay. The willingness to pay is an aspect that I consider crucial because I keep hearing entrepreneurs, they come up with ideas and come up with solutions that no one is willing to pay for. Why? Because they don't actually solve the problem, or because their problem is not that big. And so because it's not that big, they would rather solve it with a free tool. So for example, there are many tools out there that are visually much better than using a spreadsheet. And people and even companies are not using them simply because they are not free. And they have a licensing cost or a subscription cost or a pricing model that is not suitable for their needs. So that's why it is so important for you to not only think about the problem, the solution, but also about what the willingness to pay is. And I'm not saying about the business model. The business model is something different. First, you want to know if the willingness to pay actually exists. Second thing that I would focus on is the audience or the customer. Is this person, is this buyer persona, is this ICP someone that you want to serve? Is it someone that you want to get to know? Is it someone you want to spend time with? Is it someone that you want to solve for? Because at the end of the day, you want to be spending time with your customers. You want to be understanding their pain points. You want to be listening firsthand to their feedback. So if this is not a buyer persona that you want to spend loads of time with, that's probably not the space that you should be building in, from my point of view, at least. Third takeaway, this has been the most relevant for me in the last months, is around what relationship do you have with this product, with this idea, with this industry, with this buyer persona. So it's more around the product founder fit than it is around product market fit. If you have no expertise in this space, if you have no understanding for this market, if you have no proximity to your potential clients, you're entering a space where you will have to do a lot of learning before you can even do some execution. So while you are learning, someone else is already executing, and this someone else will be able to move at a much faster pace than you will. So my recommendation is to build in a space where you have some expertise in. It doesn't matter how big or how small that expertise in. Try to build somewhere where you have some level of understanding. Don't go to a space where you have absolutely no understanding, know nothing, have never worked in. You're going to make all of the possible mistakes out there because you literally have no clue of what you're doing in said space. Those are some of my takeaways. Those are some of the things that I take into consideration every single time that I want to start building a brand, creating content, developing a product, launching an idea. Any single one of those things, I am first going through these key points before I even spend time, energy, resources, or anything else on this idea.